Hey guys, and welcome back to the 10th episode of Documenting People with me. It has been an incredible journey so far. It is an achievement for me to do 10 consecutive episodes, and thank you for the support that you've shown me, and thank you to all the people who are being generous with their time in fulfilling my bucket list, in fulfilling my dream. Keep the feedback coming, keep the appreciation coming, and do let me know if you have any guest suggestions or if you would like to come. I would love to talk to as many new people as possible. That is the entire point of this podcast. You can email me at documentingpeople101 at the rate gmail.com. If an hour long podcast or an hour and a half long podcast is too much for you to watch on YouTube, you can go ahead and listen to them as audio podcasts. The podcast is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, on all other major podcasting platforms. The links are in the description. Today's guest is Sushant. He's my little brother. He is very special, and I have literally seen him grow up. So I know a lot of things about him, but I don't really know the nitty-gritties. Hoping there'll be some revelations, there'll be some secrets that I don't know that I'll come to know. So I'm super pumped. I'm super excited about this episode. Without any further ado, let's start the conversation. Thank you for taking out the time and doing this. I really appreciate it. And not that
Um,
you had a choice, but yeah, thanks for not making me convince you too much.
I think my company is given the credit for that because my company has not given me a replacement laptop for the faulty laptop I have right now. So
No, but even if you
yeah,
had one, you didn't really. I don't think you have had a choice. It's just about the time frame,
it's
probably.
time, huh? It would have
Yeah.
been like episode
Yeah.
100th.
Oh my. Oh, really? That important you are. Okay, fine. I'll give that to you. Yeah. So my first question and my favorite question. How would you like someone who doesn't know you to know you?
Huh. Well, I mean, you have put a quite a curveball over here. Um, I think would want to be known like as a person who has maybe some clarity about what they're going to be doing in at least like a year or so from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I feel that if you're meeting a person, right, and that person knows about, your immediate short-term goals, your long-term goals, that creates some kind of, that person is also involved in your journey in you achieving that those short-terms and long-term goals. They advise you, they consult you, like you have also been advising me throughout this journey as well.
Mostly don't take those advice, but yeah.
Financial advice have been great. But I mean, somewhere around that. I mean, at the same point of time, it also depends on who is the person I'm meeting, right? If I'm meeting
Mm-hmm.
someone who is in class 12th or who is just right now starting to, go to college and explore whatever courses they've enrolled to, I would want them to know that I'm confused because, to be honest, it's something which you would need to figure out. You would need to
Mm-hmm.
know what you want to what actually your inclination is, how you want to, and that entire process of finding that inclination,
Right.
that takes a lot. Takes a good amount of journey that you would need to set. You would need to travel that entire path where you would need to first understand what you really like. Is that something you actually like, or is it something which has been seasoned into you by the society? Post that, once you've clarified that, I don't know, is it I'm actually answering this question or not, but
See, it's your podcast. This is your episode, your documentary. This is your show. So you say whatever. It's fine.
I'm just saying I'm digressing a bit, but towards the end the
Then let
point
it
is
be.
it
That's
depends
okay.
on who am I meeting. If it's a
Hmm.
youngster who is setting out the journey, I would want them to know that it's confusing, and you would also need to take the same path to
Hmm.
figure out your whatever predicament, whatever confusion you're having, to figure out that no
Mm-hmm.
one will serve it out as a platter to you. If of course meeting someone who is more or less achieved things in life, who has done huge things, who have basically have good name in the industry or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
for them, like as a person, I would want them to know, that I am trying to do this again. I am confused. I am trying to build up on this, and maybe I need their direction. Maybe I need their life experience of how they have their experiences have gone by, and how they have been able to deal with this
But
crisis
don't you
of you
think
wanting to know about
how
inclination.
they have been able to deal with it, how what their journey has been, probably really won't replicate into yours, doesn't fit into yours.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wouldn't, and of course, it's not a carbon copy. It will not be the same way.
Yeah,
But at least it gives me hope. It gives me hope in a way
sure,
that
it
they were
does.
able to figure it out.
Yeah.
It also tells me that there is no one fine formula to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many other paths to do it. So that is a reassurance you get. That's something which you would need time to time in your life. That you know that even
True.
if things are very haphazard, you are able to uh, go past it, and you people are able to figure it out. So yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense completely. Starting from the very beginning, back to the time when you were born. Where were you born? How were the times then? You wouldn't know how were the times then, but you would comparatively know.
I was born in Sultanpur. That's where my mom comes from. My
Mm-hmm.
um, so my mom, she belongs to this small place away from Lucknow, 140 kilometers away from Lucknow, called Sultanpur. Where I think she was also born there, born and brought up in that town. And I think when she was having me, she went there, and I was born over there.
How was childhood? How was it? What is the first thing you remember of child? Like your first memory of your life? What is the first thing you remember?
Memories,
Mm-hmm.
two memories, which I don't know whether they were first on, or which one was the first out of the two. One was I was in Fatehpur. That's where my dad's their ancestry. That's where my dad's side comes from. So that's where I think I started out like I was a kid, not started out like I was a kid, and I remember just watching the fields. It was the year 2000 that I remember, year 2000, and I
Yeah,
was
so
just
like
there in that
yeah,
house.
yeah.
Um, and then the next thing is it's actually the Greenfield School,
Oh,
and
okay.
in the Greenfield School, I actually had that distinct that I was walking, of course, towards the class or whatever. I was just in there. I was walking, and I could feel the ground is so close to me, like I'm so small in
You're so
height.
small, yeah.
And I thought, okay, after like 7, 8, 9 years, I think this distance will increase. And I have this since that time. I have this activity that I do. That
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very similar to Abhishek Upmanyu said कि वो nostalgia में अभी से ही जी रहा है.
हाँ,
So
right, right.
I create like memories ki okay, this is something that I want to remember
Actively
like
create
10 years
memories.
after it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like after 10 years I want to remember that this thing. So I just take a moment. I close my eyes, and I just try to just capture that moment. So maybe after like 10 years I'm able to just recall that. So that is the first time I did that, was when I was in Greenfield
Mm-hmm.
School, the very first school of my life.
Yeah.
And I created that memory very consciously, that I'll remember 10 years after that. It had been actually more than 10 years,
And
but I
you
remember
do.
it.
You
Yeah,
do, yeah.
correct.
Yeah. But the only
So,
that
yeah.
this reminds me of कि तुम्हें लगता था this thing of कि अभी ground बहुत close है and once I'll grow up in a few years
Mhm.
it will be away from me and this concept of growing up as a kid तुम्हें genuinely लगता था कि तुम बड़े होके हम लोगों से बड़े हो जाओगे you for context, like he has an elder brother who is elder to me as well और फिर I am also elder to him और इसको बचपन में सच में लगता था कि ये बड़ा होकर हम लोग से बड़ा हो जाएगा like we'll be starting And he'll surpass us. In height, yes. In age, no. Hard luck.
Yeah, I mean, because
That's
maybe I
cool.
thought that, when I was growing up, like I'm passing classes, class nursery, prep, first, second. So you were in class ninth. So I'll reach class ninth and then I'll pass
I
class
wasn't
ninth and
in
I'll
class 9. मैं
I
इतनी
mean,
बड़ी
I'm
नहीं हूँ.
just an
Yeah.
example. I just an
Yeah.
example.
It's a
कि
very weird
whichever
example,
class
but okay,
X.
I'll take it. But then बचपन कैसा था?
Bachpan, I think I mean, till class 12th, I think I've enjoyed a lot. I think I've been able to do very minimum in terms of studying, and I've been able
Oh.
to do well. I also, had good amount of fun when I was as a kid when I was used to play cricket, football, or whatever. I think that is something was also very characteristic of me in terms of the sport. So I mean, it has been very minimum exposure in terms of me playing cricket, football, because I could not practice for the college or school team as such because the school was pretty far away from my house. And that was difficult
Mm-hmm.
because, of course, you have to coming back to school, coming back from school, you have to go to coachings. Yeah, but then like after class ninth, you have to go to coachings and
Yeah. Yeah.
figure out that. So, but then, but I think I had a fair share of having fun in terms of sports. Very, very exam to exam studying to be able to, get that 5 to 10 rank wala grades. And
Very modest, I must say.
why modest? 5 to 10 is still not what you used to get. I don't know, class like you used to get like third, fourth, or whatever rank.
Yeah, but I'm not modest that I did minimal studying. I studied. I didn't put in that much effort, I know, but I studied. तो मैं इंटेलिजेंट
No,
बनूं या क्या
so
करूं? Then, घर पे कैसा था? घर पे कौन कौन थे? Who all were there at home when you were growing up?
very earlier in my life, I don't have very distinct memory of that. I think I used to stay very close to my grandfather and my grandmother. They were like nurturing me together. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that was something like very vague memory of me being with them, me being more attached to my grandparents in comparison to
Mm-hmm.
my parents. So
Mm-hmm.
that was something which is there. I think. I mean, post that once I moved on to class prep first or second, or maybe when I maybe became more attached to my parents. But very earlier, I think it was my grandparents who were there, who used to be. I used to chill with them. That's what's my time with them that I used to spend. So in my house, as I told you, my grandparents, my parents, 4 years elder brother. Those were the people that I was around with. Of course, I was also very attached to my mom's side of family. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cousins coming from there as well that I used to
Mm-hmm.
visit. I used to visit them every summer holidays.
Yeah.
So that was also fun because I still remember, like, I think one of the best time in my life, like I
Uh-huh.
ever had. I don't think I ever had that much of fun in my life till now. Was when I used to play hide and seek with my cousins in my Sultanpur's house. It
Yeah.
was really fun. Now, not just hide and seek, but also playing cricket and stuff. I think I never had more fun than that ever till now. So that is something which was really fun. I think post that, I mean, I grew up like my frequency of going to my Nani's, my Sultanpur's house became
Yeah.
lesser. I became more involved with my friends who were there in my school. I used to play cricket with them, and then post that, of course, post ninth, it became in such
Yeah.
a way that
Then to. Yeah.
then the coaching started, and you had to basically be very
Yeah.
be much involved with the process.
So I was asking about your parents because I think like what are their names and what do they do? Because I think हम लोग ऐसा मम्मी पापा बोल के हो जाता है, but they somehow don't get identified in our journeys, which is very important, I feel.
My father's name is Alok Gupta. He has been working for the Central Excise and Service Tax earlier. Now it's GST. I think he started out very earlier in his life, trying to get government jobs because at that time it's very trending. So he started out with getting Reserve Bank of India, and then he switched, like we switch our jobs. He also switched from Reserve Bank of India to this Central Excise and Service Tax. So he has been doing that till now. I think he is, I think 3, 4 years away from his retirement. Mom is a homemaker. She's helper. She is someone who I think I've always been like as a child I've been very attached to, because that's what my dad tells me, that that I never used to leave her side. I also always used to be with her, and if I'm not able to see her consciously, I used to start just to just cry. So that's my mom's name is Richa Gupta. Uh, my grandparents, my grandfather, he used to work for Food Corporation of India, FCI. He retired from the state of Gangtok as a district magistrate for FCI, not
Mm-hmm.
state of Gangtok, state of Sikkim. Uh,
Yeah.
he was in Gangtok. Uh, so that's where he retired from. I think he took a very, like he took an early retirement. And my grandmother's name was Leelavati Gupta. She was a housewife, a homemaker, a person who had a lot of aspiration as I remember. I think she wanted to become IAS officer, but that couldn't work out.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, someone who was, I think, very, very intelligent, very shrewd, um, very academic, I would say. She was that kind of a person. I also have a bua. So my grandparents had two kids, my father
Hmm.
and my bua. I call her bua. It feels very
Of
weird for
course.
me to take her name because I've never.
Of course you call her Hua, obviously.
But her name is Chitra Bhushan. She got married to one of the doctors in Indian Army. So so she is right now she's in Gorakhpur, but they have of course been to different parts of the
Yeah.
country as any army personnel, and their family
Yeah.
have been. So yeah, so that's pretty much
Nice.
biodata. I can go into my
Yeah. Someone
arranged
who
marriage
wants to
biodata,
track Sushant, they
Kundli and
can
all.
use this. Kundli and all will need the place of birth, we know, the date of birth and the time of birth, but we'll not get to that. That's
We'll
okay.
not get to
We don't
that.
we don't want the Kundli. We don't want you to be the most eligible bachelor yet. There's time to that.
Yet, true, true.
Yet.
To that.
How was school?
School. Started off at, as I told you guys, it's
Yeah.
Greenfields School.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did a year over there, nursery. And then I switched to the Martinier College, Lucknow. Of course, I repeated over there because, of course, they were not giving me admissions for prep. So I did
Yeah.
nursery again. And then I remember the very first day during the
Basics are
admission
really clear.
process.
Did it twice.
Yeah, yeah. During my admission process, they were asking me, they were showing me those plastic alphabets,
Yeah.
that something which
Yeah,
you
what's
basically
this?
put forward
I've
to.
done this, dude.
So it's like, oh, what is this alphabet? I'm like, actually, I remember, I also remember that. So they were showing me alphabet, but I was actually distracted. I was looking at the kids outside who were playing football.
Yeah.
And I remember they were asking me, I don't know, some alphabet, maybe P or Q or something. I was out of concentration looking at them. I said something R or something. So they said, okay, focus here and come back. Okay. So I still remember, yeah, that thing was there that I was I responded not well, and that was a point which my parents were did not like that behavior of mine, because I applied after Greenfield School. I applied to three different schools. My
Mm-hmm.
parents actually applied to three different schools.
Of
I
course.
was just there. So out of the three schools, I did not get selected to the two of the first of them. I think first school was, of
Yeah.
course, your school, which is St.
St.
Mary's,
Mary's. Yeah. Yeah.
and they
Which is
were
very
like,
weird.
with St. Mary's, I also have a very interesting memory that I can remember. Was that so? They had a return paper thing, no? That
Mm-hmm.
once if you are trying to get into nursery or whatever grade, they'll give you a thing to fill out. So there was an image of a tree, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember I did not write tree. I mentioned dog or cat or whatever. I did not
Why?
mention tree. Now,
Consciously or just by mistake?
I don't know how, but I remember that I labeled it incorrectly. Now, every kid around me had a pencil box with them, right? So they had pencil, eraser, sharpener, and stuff like that. I did not, and that's my parents' fault. How will a 4 year child would know that they have to carry like these
Yeah,
stuff with them?
yeah,
So starting when I had to start writing, these her sister, they gave me a pencil to write,
yeah.
but since I've written dog or whatever under tree, I felt like it was not into me that I can like cross it and write tree.
And you
I,
didn't
I
have
I
the
asked
eraser.
I didn't have an eraser. So I asked for the eraser, sister, can you just give me an eraser or something? Like I want to just, change it to tree.
Yeah.
I written dog or something. They said, okay, you just cut it and write tree.
Yeah.
Very, very, very legitimate advice. And I was like, no, I can't cut it. This is not something which I can do. Very principled I was that I can't cut it. So I let it be. I did not. It was a dog towards the end.
This is great. This is news to me, and this is great. No, but the strange thing is, like St. Mary's, of course, I've been to St. Mary's. Your brother has been to St. Mary's. But Lamartine, on the other hand, is one of the most prestigious schools pan India, not even just in Lucknow. Pan India, it's a very prestigious school.
I hope your viewers know about Martin.
And I don't know if they know or not, but then if they don't, I'm letting you know, La Martine is a very prestigious school pan India. Just the sheer fact that it has three branches and one happens to be in France. So that is the claim to fame apparently. But I'll believe it. But pan India, it's pretty famous. They have just two branches, one in Kolkata, one in Lucknow, and it's so famous that they have a hostel and people actually send their kids to the boarding school, and it's a very good school. It definitely is a very good school. So it is very weird that you managed to get through that and didn't get through the. No, it's not weird that you got through that Lamartine. It's weird that you didn't get through the other two. Is what I'm trying to say. Which is good. Which is good because had you gotten through any other, your parents wouldn't have sent you to Lamartine because it's pretty far from up the place that you live. So it's good,
True, true,
and
true,
that
true.
didn't happen.
I'm very fortunate that I did not get into any of the two schools. I think I started off nursery to class fifth. I was in one junior campus of my school, and post that I was part of the Constantia building, the senior campus. Throughout, I think my stay at La Martiniere, it has been pretty much like I told you, I was very much involved in the sports or whatever I can do during my break time, lunch time. I think I was part of elocutions because I was like I did not have any other option. I'm still am a person who don't
I
like to
love it.
be
I
on
did
the
not have any
stage.
option.
Yeah, because they it
I know
was
you
mandatory
have to
for everyone
participate in
to
something. Yeah, yeah, I get it.
correct.
Yeah, that
So,
is how I
but
ended up speaking so much as well. So you were talking about school and how important it has been
I
to
think it
you.
also like if I come back to Lucknow, I mean my identity is somewhat related to my friends and to this entire schooling system. I want to go back to my school, and especially I don't know what's the scene right now because I've not been to school in like last 6 months or a year from now. The canteen and the food which they used to give. I don't think I've had better tasting canteen, especially of any school. Like I've been to colleges, I've been to different colleges. Um, as my friends were there, or my internship also involved me to visiting different colleges. But I think the canteen was fabulous, and they used to give. I mean, I'm a vegetarian, and
Hmm.
right now I'm being just blasphemous by saying that I used to love the vegetarian sheermar kebab, but it
Which is
was
not even a
the
thing, but
best.
yes, we
I
believe
mean,
you.
they just made it. Like,
Yeah,
they saw a demand for the vegetarian people who were there, so they made the
I
vegetarian
know.
version of it, and it was fantastic. I really want to go back and try that.
I want to go back and try because I've grown up hearing so much about it. I'm like, I really want to have it now. I
Yeah, I
genuinely
mean,
do.
when it's like steaming hot, because not just that, I think the patties I used to get, it was when so
So we did
my school
plan for
had
going, but then thanks to COVID. Um,
I think when I was in class 8th, ninth, that's where hunger in me increased. So I used to finish my tiffin in the bit before even the lunch used to start, and that was still not enough. So before even lunch started, like a period before that, which was fourth period. Yeah, after fourth period, we used to have lunch. So in the
mhm,
fourth period, my tiffin is over, and I'm really hungry. So I used to go to the canteen, and that PowerPoint itself, in fourth period, the supplies to the canteen used to come. So they
mhm,
had, of course, they used to make these things in somewhere else, but it used to come to school by fourth period. So I used to go there and buy patties, and it was just a bliss to
mhm.
have that in fourth period when you're really hungry and you're having that hot delicious patties and just
Uh-huh.
I really want to again have that sometime soon. Coming back to the school, so फिर this happened. I think like I barely have like a lot of memory of my junior school till my class fifth. One thing which I was actively involved in apart from of course classes and exams and stuff was choir. I think till class fifth I was part of choir. I think I started off in class first, and from
Mhm.
class first to class fifth, I was in the junior school choir. So I used to sing, and then of course adolescence happened, and I lost my touch. I lost my voice to that. And after I went to the senior school and adolescence happened, I could not join the choir back again. But that was that was something which I was involved in at least in my juniors classes. From class six onward, of course, I was more involved in academics, and I wanted to try in the debates because that was the cool thing at a point of
Yeah.
time. Because
Mhm.
cool kids used to go to debates,
Yeah.
used to represent how your houses in debates. So I tried that. Apparently, I used to pronounce mosquito instead of mosquito, and that's where I could not make it to the house team. I clearly
Yeah.
remember this. Then post that, I was more or less a very like a person who was just involved in academics, and during the break time, whatever sports or whatever thing I used to do. I think somewhere around class seventh, eighth, I got really involved in football. That also happened because my friends started to shift from cricket to football. I started out as like a goalkeeper, and I'm still a goalkeeper, but like I started as a goalkeeper. I think in class eighth, in class ninth, I played my best football of my life. After that, of course, I lost practice and not used to practice. But in class eighth and ninth, I think I used to play one of the best footballs. I used to play with my seniors of class 12th, and our
Mhm.
team used to beat them. And like literally, we used to like beat them in football, and they were seniors. They were in class 12. So that's where I wanted to and I still want to want to go to one of the turfs, just play football for like an hour or so. It just was very relaxing and very therapeutic. But after class 11, 12, I still used to manage my football things, but it was restricted to weekends. Not
Mhm.
something which I used to do it in a usual basis. Football was there. Um, of course, class 10th happened, boards happened. Uh, Whatever prep was required for boards, that happened. So when I was in class 11th and 12th, I was like one of those seniors. But just to give context, is that in my van, we used to have very limited capacity. I think only 50% of the people who used to travel from my place and reach the school, they were like privileged enough to be seated. And of course, those people were the seniors. So I think till class 10th, actually not 10th, till ninth at least, I have gone to school standing up a very small cramped place. And post that, however, I was so royal that when I reached class 11th and 12th, I used to keep a bag, on the seat instead of
Yeah.
making another junior sit. Junior used to stand up, my bag used to sit next to me,
Perpetuating the bullying culture.
perpetuating it, nourishing it. Correct. In retrospect, of course, it was not fair enough, but then, of course. That's what I used to enjoy. And also the fact that in my class 11th and 12th, my involvement to the academic classes became lesser. I was part of this event management committee, and I was fortunate enough that my school allowed for us to have this event management committee where I can host, I can manage
Yeah.
events. I
Yeah.
think event something which usually is managed by schools and the participants are
Mm.
students. But this
Mm.
experience of hosting event, that was something I
Mm.
feel uh, I got in class 11th and 12th, where I used to just sit in one of the allocated offices that I had in my school. I used to sit over there. Like out of the 12 months, 8 months there was no work. But still, in those 8 months, we were chilling out in that office. What we had internet connectivity, so
Wow. So
we
when was this hanging out happening? Like you had a
class
separate
11th
period
and
for
12th,
this? No. So like
we used
you
to
had
bunk.
periods, right? Oh.
So we were allowed. It's not bunking if you're allowed for it, right? If you're bunking, it's not allowed. So we were allowed to be in that office for and skip classes for maximum amount of the academic year.
How nice. This is such a cool stuff. I never imagined this happening. Wow.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the biggest thing. I think it was back in 2015. You are in your school and you have access to internet, and you have like
Yeah.
8 hours to kill.
And good internet. So because it's not some
Good
satta
internet.
internet, it's
Yeah,
like good internet.
yeah. We were
Must have
all out. We
full,
used to watch movies. We used
fayda
to know.
uthawed and too much torrent must have happened in that room.
Torrent, yeah. True, 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 true. Too much torrent. I think a lot of us used to like play like high definition games and stuff. So they used to download all those things. I think one illegal thing which we did was I think they after a point of time the staff understood that we were into all
Yeah.
of this. So what they did was instead of taking of course any stringent measures, they what they did was just put a password to the computer. Now if you want
Yeah.
to access it,
You
you
have to
come and
get that
ask us for
password
the
from us.
password.
Yeah.
My friends,
Yeah.
they installed something called keylogger on the computer. So once the password was there and it was put by the staff, we got it once and then we never used to come go and ask password because we already had it because we had this keylogger thing installed in the
So didn't
computer.
they ever realize that these guys are not asking for passwords now and
So we used to we then said okay, we don't need computer. We can do planning on a plain sheet of paper.
wow, very smart. Were you naughty as a kid? Or were you like a
Was I
nice shant kid?
phases, I would say. I would say that when I was very early uh, in my school, I used to be a bully. I think I used to be in a lot of fights. And then post that, when of course my parents used to start getting complaints, I actually consciously remember that effort of me trying to tone down myself, trying to
Okay.
not be aggressive with people, trying to behave myself. I still remember like
I
I
remember
actively, I
you
very
beating up
consciously took that measure.
kids in your class.
That was correct. And also, I told you, right, from Greenfields to Lamartine when I went, I already completed my nursery in
Yeah.
Greenfield. So when I reached Lamartine, I was like a year senior to all of these people
Mm-hmm.
who
Mm-hmm.
were there in my school, who were there in my class. So I used to just be like, "What's your age? My age is 4. Your age is 3. So why don't you just shut up?" And that was enough. That was actually enough. And of course, beating up used to happen. I was, of course, very aggressive, very alpha male characteristic was there at that point of time. But I remember when my parents used to start getting complaints, and my parents, of course, uh, they were coming back and they were telling me to solve this. I can actually remember consciously making an effort to not be a bully, and I stopped being one. So at that point of time, I would say I was naughty. My journey from being naughty towards when I reached class 10th, 11th, 12th, I think I was more or less a quiet kid. I was more or less, you can say, someone who was introvert, someone whose energy is absorbed by doing small talks, and still I'm that person. I'm a person right now who if I would want, if I'm engaging with people, if I'm having small talks with people I don't know or people I'm very vaguely familiar with, uh, but I just have to, say hi to them or have a small talk with them because they're
Yeah.
just in front of me or they happen to pass by me.
No, but
I am someone who don't like that type of doing small talk. Yeah,
for
you
sure
think
you
so?
don't like it. That's okay, but you have improved a lot. Then at least you can say hi. But then there was a big chunk of your childhood where you would just refuse to come in front of someone who you don't know.
Huh.
And
I think I
I
still
don't know
have that
why.
fear.
No,
I
but
don't know
your
because
first,
I think again it was the fear of having small talks. I have to just be in front of them. They would ask me questions. I have to reply them. I don't know. Actually, I don't know exactly why. What was the
yeah,
exact
but
reason?
you
I
do
actually
remember the phase,
don't
right?
know.
Because it was very much in your teenage and a huge chunk of your school life, I remember. You just refused to come in front of anyone you did not know. Sushant would do anything. He could jump off a building just to avoid meeting someone he doesn't know. So weird. Which is some
Yeah, I don't
like
know why. I
I
was
know people are
very shy.
shy.
I
I've
don't know the
seen,
exact reason.
yeah. Then after your school, you moved to college. So how was that transition?
Got into St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. Into the stream of BSc. And let me tell you, I was not even after class 10th, I was not sure whether I should take science or commerce. And even after class 12th, I was not sure which college or which degree to pursue. I think you already know this. I was very confused at one time. So the very first college I got shortlisted into was St. Xavier's College. I'm like, okay, I'm shortlisted into this. I'm just go over there. I'll just see how it is, and then I was like, okay, I'm understanding this curriculum. I think I got into BSc statistics at that point of time. BSc mathematics, statistics and economics. This was a subject combination. I'm like, okay, I'm liking the lecture. I'm liking the people over here. I've also gone into the college, into the hostel. So I have a good deal of accommodation because this is Mumbai. It's very hard to get accommodation in that that part of Mumbai because it was very um, expensive uh, till now. It will be for good amount of
Yeah,
time. That
yeah,
particular area, South Bombay, is expensive. So, oh, I got a hostel over there, and I was like, yeah, I'm fairly rooted into this. And then I think I got shortlisted into um, Kirorimal College. Same kind of degree. I was getting BSc in statistics honors over there. Over here, it was more or less math, stats, eco, and then in the third year you will do major. You'll choose one of the majors out of these three
yeah.
subjects. But I was like, since I'm rooted over here, let me just continue with this and the scene over here. So I went ahead and did not go to DU at that point of time. One another story which happened around the same time was, of course, applied to Delhi University, but I did not know St. Stephen's College had a different application process. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that if I'm applying to Delhi University and I'm applying to all these colleges in Delhi University, St. Stephen's College will also be part of the same application. And I think for one of the courses, I was very close to the cutoff. Like, I think I missed that with 1 mark. If I would have scored one
Oh,
more mark in one of the subjects,
yeah,
I would have met the cutoff. But fortunately, I did not meet the cutoff because as it is, I did not apply. I did not know how to, like, I had to apply to this
yeah,
different
yeah,
application process. And I was so fortunate I did not get into the merit list
yeah.
of St.
Otherwise, you
Stephen's
would
College.
have been like, oh shit.
St. David's College, I think I remember, I still remember the first day, first time I'm, going out of my city, going to
Uh-huh.
stay alone, not alone with people, but not going
Yeah,
to
but
be
like,
staying with my
yeah.
parents. So the first day was kind of homesickness wala time. But then I think the second day, it was actually first day was sad. Second day was I knew like 4 or 5 people from my hostel. I was enjoying my time over there. I was liking the fact, that I don't have to be asleep at this point of time, or I don't have to be. I have to come back to hostel by this amount of time. I mean, there was curfew, of course, but
Yeah.
still, I could do anything just before meeting. So if I think my curfew was at 11 p.m., but at
Which is
10:50
pretty
p.m.
good. Good.
which is pretty cool. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
But at 10:50 p.m., I could be in a bar, I could be in a pub, or I
yeah,
could be at my friend's place at 10:50
yeah,
p.m. It's not like, to
yeah.
start like a journey and just go over there to my college. I have to, if I'm drinking, I have to get sober up or something like that. So that's something which was cool. That's something which I was liking a lot at Independence. So I think my first year, I think I enjoyed a lot. I got to meet so many people coming from, of course, different parts of the country. And especially in the first year was not difficult academically at all. I could just study just one day before the exam and I could like get good grades. Um,
It was that easy?
so I was still a kid
Yeah.
who used to like focus in class. I was
Okay,
still that
okay.
person, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
even when we used to go to lectures, in my first year at least, I was that kid who used to listen to everything which the professor is
Yeah.
telling me very carefully, and that
Mm-hmm,
used to listen. It was not difficult stuff. Math, stats, economics was difficult because economics was something which I did not do in my class 11th. It was the first time I was studying economics, and directly I'm studying it in the college level.
mm-hmm.
Economic was something which was difficult. It was new. I had to pay much more attention. But maths and stats was something which uh, where I used to like just listen to what they're saying, fairly simple stuff, study that entire thing just before the exam, and just used to get good grades.
Nice.
So I had a lot of free time. I had a lot of free time to chill with my friends, with my college friends. A lot of free times to be part of different college fests. That is something which every Xavierite, that's what we call people from Xavier's, every Xavierite would need to do in their first year was to complete something called as SIPRs, which is called Social
Mm-hmm.
Involvement Program. I think I told you about this thing very thing much uh, back when I was in college. Basically, every Xavierite would need to be involved with one of their affiliated NGOs. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to go over there. So I can either be a teacher, a teaching assistant.
Right.
I could be a part of a drive, a campaign which is towards like a social cause. And I
Mm-hmm.
can actually just be over there, be part of that entire thing. I have to contribute in some way or the other. I have to complete like number of hours that used to go into this program for me to be successful. But that aside, I think what my thing they randomly allocated me this particular NGO, which was a school for kids who were not privileged enough to have a normal functioning mind. There used to be kids who used to uh, be, of course, lagging behind in terms of understanding academically and socially, just not being able to, uh,
Especially gifted.
this especially
Yeah,
gifted kids, you
yeah,
can
yeah,
say,
yeah.
just not being able to, just do the things how normal kids would do. Also, I was a teacher, like teaching assistant over there for 3 months or so. After my college, I used to go to this school. I used to just hang around. What they told me is that we'll teach, don't worry, just hang around with
Yeah,
the kids. Or if they have, they want me to tell them a
yeah.
specific
Assist
doubt,
them
just
basically.
explain
Yeah, yeah,
very,
yeah.
very specifically, very small, very special cases. I used to just assist with them. And I played cricket with them a lot. After,
Mm-hmm.
I think that time when I used to reach there after my college, their cricket or games period would be going on.
Yeah.
So used to play cricket with them a lot.
So,
But
what
let me
age
tell
group
you,
of kids are we talking about here?
this is class second, class third,
Oh, they're
class.
little, yeah, literally
Yeah, these
kids.
little
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
literally kids. Class second, class third, they're literally kids I used to be hanging around with. And but there was just one
yeah.
trait which I found very extraordinary in comparison to kids who would be normal and who would be basically be
Mm-hmm.
studying in a normal school was that these kids are actually more responsible. These
Mm-hmm.
kids, if you tell them, right, that you need to leave school at this time and you directly would need to go to your bus, they first of all knew the bus numbers of all their classmates. A conductor would used to come outside the class. He used to pick up XYZ kids and they used to go
Mm-hmm.
together with him in his bus. But there was a situation where they don't used to call the name of the kids because they used to just say bus number this. They
And all the
bus number
kids
this,
knew.
all the
Yeah.
kids. But there were situations where someone new would have joined the class or school and they would not be that familiar with the system. So they would make sure that okay, you are part of this bus. You should go. I did not know this. I of course I did
Oh,
not know all the bus numbers and the
yeah.
kids who used to go to which bus number. But these kids know. So they also would ensure that their classmates are going in the right time. They are taking their shoes with
Hmm.
them. They're not forgetting their bags
More aware
responsible,
and more
more aware about.
responsible. Yeah.
And I also used to meet with their parents. I don't know how things would happen in their houses, respective houses, but
Hmm.
pretty normal, bro. Usually, I think the perception in society is that maybe the parents would not be that happy or they would be depressed or sad. That was not the case at all.
Yeah.
They were very happy with their kids or whatever development or progress they were having that they were having in the school.
Nice. Good experience and good exposure, good fun. I feel these are experiences that are important for the overall development of a human. It's very important to be aware of the variety that we live in because a lot of the times we are just so blinded with the way we live for anyone. I'm not saying that you or me, or for anyone who is living a certain way of life, richer than us, poorer than us, whatever. Most of the times we are so blinded and so confined in our own ways that we don't look out for diversity. We do not acknowledge the fact, leave alone accepting. We don't even acknowledge the fact that there is so much diversity, and this is, I think it's a good program that every college should have.
Yeah, so that was first year. First year also introduced me to something called Manar, one of the college festivals. Xavier's, I was part of one of the teams, and I've been part of that group of people, that team throughout my college. So 3 years
Hmm.
part of the same team. Enjoyed my time during that festival. So after first year, I think I had to choose. I mean, I don't have to choose. Economics was not part of my curriculum because I don't think they give specialization to economics as part of BSc. They would give it
Okay.
to you as part of BA, but since I was a BSc student, they would
Hmm.
not give it economics. But let me tell you, I think my professors, especially for economics, was amazing. Like he was someone who would be just so, I mean, very easily putting the very complex concept kind of a
Yeah.
teacher. Someone who is also, if I think at that point of time, demonetization happened, GST happened, the similar, and that at that point of time only that those things happened. I remember the very next day we were actually evaluating as to what could have been one of the macroeconomics or microeconomics implications of this. So very, very interesting, very good professor. He had left. I think we were his last batch after teaching us. Then he left Xavier's. He
Hmm.
went to some other college, but quite a good experience studying economics with him. So I could not take economics in my second year. Was took maths and statistics. Maths I used to hate. I actually was. I think maths was. So for example, in class 12, you used to get one kind or one theme of mathematics. If you go to BSc and you do maths, right, it's totally different. It's
Hmm.
not it's not this in the same way as what you've been doing until class 12. So there was a
Yeah.
good big shock, and I did not want to study that. Somehow I just want to get done with second year, so I reached third year and I only have statistics with me, and I'm totally fine with statistics. It was one of the good subjects and I like that.
Yeah.
I would also tell you about, I mean, in this entire course of 3 years, I think my political beliefs, my social beliefs, my beliefs about things specifically, I think it got impacted tremendously because I think I was, of course, as you said, we were living in a world which we are surrounded by like-minded people, and then once you are basically part of this ecosystem, you interact with people who have a certain opinion about things, and when you are basically having conversation about this opinion, it
Right.
you tend to understand, okay, they also have a point. I had a lot of these stimulating discussions. I think one discussion which I think I can point out was between my first and second year, I took an internship. It was survey enumeration. That was
Hmm.
called. So Stanford University, they wanted to study the technical standards or technical education standards of different countries, right?
Right.
So uh, India was one of the countries they were studying, and I was part of their survey enumeration team. So we would go to colleges and tell the kids of those colleges that we are doing this thing. There's a survey made for you. Just go and take that survey. If you have any questions, let us know. And not just kids; these surveys were also taken by the professors. And since we were coming from Stanford University and AICTE, we were treated really well. So
Yeah, there's some credibility to what you were
there was
asking
some
for.
credibility.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
But during that point of time, actually, one of my college people who was also part of this survey enumeration team, we had this debate. We had this, not debate, it's actually a discussion. It's about reservation specifically. Like, I think before that discussion, I was kind of against it. I wanted reservation not to be there,
Mm-hmm.
just for the pure fact of a lot of people misuse it. There may not be a need of it. It was something which was there as a temporary measure during 1947. It should have gone by then, stuff like that. But actually, when I had discussion with him, he told me a few facts, a few things like, we still are having racial
Caste
caste
based and
discrimination,
yeah, yeah.
caste-based discrimination done uh, in different ways. So there's, I think, a very famous documentary by BBC, which is called India Untouched. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is somewhere, I think it was at that point of time shot very recently. I showed that this is something which is still there because if you're
Yeah,
basically living in cities like Bangalore or Mumbai or Delhi, you don't see it happening, but deep down in where the mass of India is coming from, that's they are still following those practices. Also, there was this particular study done by the Indian Railway at a point of time that basically suggested that because of reservation, their efficiency has increased. And it's saddening if you do a root cause analysis of it, is because
yeah,
right now also the start is same. There's Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D officers in railways.
yeah, yeah.
Group A had the most number of Brahmins, and Group B had the most number of people who come from a lower caste background. The thing was that because there was reservation and people were identified to be coming from a particular caste, they were not allowed to, have lunch, shared meals with the high caste officers or their colleagues
Mm-hmm.
who belong to high caste. And to get themselves promoted, that's
Mm-hmm.
where the extra efficiency coming from. To get themselves
Right.
promoted, they had to work extra hard for them to be able to get promoted. And that's where the extra efficiency coming from and stuff like that. So that's one of the discussion I had with him at that point of time. And that's where I realized, okay, he also agreed to the fact that reservation system in India is not perfect,
Yeah.
but there is of course a necessity of it.
For that matter, any system in India, is any system anywhere in the world is not perfect. Keep that
Mhm.
aside. You bring in a so-called perfect system in India, and because it's India, you will get around it, get by it, get through the loopholes of it. So that's just us Indians knowing how to go around things and misuse things first rather than how to use it. That's a very desi thing to do. I will include all the other South Asian countries in it. That's a very desi thing to do. I agree. Any system, any law is misused, and but that does not mean that it shouldn't be there. And I completely agree with it. Of course, I do not agree and subscribe to the current reservation system, but do I believe that it shouldn't be there? No, it should completely be there. But it's a very primitive version, and we need a lot of modification for the betterment and for the better use of it. Because it's now a very popular practice to misuse it very easily. So it is not actually, reaching out to the actually deserved people. It's still not.
I actually, you know about Dhruv, he's one of my
Yeah.
friends from Remark. He has actually come up with a system. He has written like a paper around having a more efficient reservation system. We can talk about that later. But
Yeah, sure, that's nice. Youngsters are putting their time, effort, and mind into something that will now not benefit them. He's over college. He's probably not aiming for a government job that would really help him in reservations. So it's great, it's encouraging, and I'm happy that our generation is taking the step in the right direction. And yeah, it'll be a fun topic to talk on for sure, because I also think a lot about it. Because all the debates that we have on mainstream media, they just want to paint it black and white, and it's not black and white. A popular argument is that preservation should be basis economics, like the economic background basically. And I agree to it, but it's not as black and white. You just can't do it ABCD. It has to be more nuanced, it has to be more researched, and yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Economics
So
should be a part of it, but just not it. But no, it's good to know that exposure helped you, moving cities helped you, meeting new people, change your perspective, which I was also kind of keen on exploring, because there has been a big shift in your thought process, the way you look at things after you've gone to college. It is, of course, a lot to do with where you went to college, which college you went to, which was, of course, Xavier's in Mumbai. So it's good.
true, true. I think it shapes a lot of your character because I mean at that point of time, what you are
It does.
18.
And also, you were one of the open minded, receptive people, because, of course, it works both ways. You can keep on pouring loads and loads of information on a deaf ear and it wouldn't make a difference. And we know such cases. So, yeah.
I think also about the fact that you were talking about me coming from boys' school. Me going to Xavier's was basically me being part of the 30% of the male population. So the gender split over there is 70% are girls and 30%.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a choice but to talk to them and to have a
Yeah.
conversation with them
Yeah. And to
because
have
they
a
were
different
there.
perspective overall.
Correct.
Yeah. A lot of things change. The lifestyle is different. Living away from home is different. It's new. Everyone was so worried when you were leaving, because parents at home literally thought you couldn't survive. You will just starve to death probably. I don't know why they thought that, but they were literally worried, and because you were the youngest and all of that stuff.
One amazing thing which one of the observations which you pointed out was the fact that that till I was in Lucknow, till I was in my house with my parents, I never reached a point where I was actually feeling very hungry. I think when you are in a hostel, right,
Yeah.
you towards the end there will be multiple situations that you will actually starve and be like,
Yeah.
okay, no one is coming there with a plate towards me. I have to go downstairs to the mess and get myself some food because there's just no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things don't go back to places automatically if you're going to college with
What a
your
surprise! How is it not happening?
dirty if you're
How are
going to
the
college
shoes
with
not
dirty t-shirt
moving?
on top of your bed, you
Yeah.
come back and it'll be there. It will be just be there.
Yes. Yes. I remember the whole
All things were
experience
there.
of teaching you how a washing machine works.
Correct, because I
Yeah.
also, to be honest, it's I think washing
I did
machine,
not teach him, for the
like the
viewers. I still don't know how it works. I know the basic function. I live at home. I'm very privileged. I don't. The mothers taught. My mom and his mom taught him how washing machine works.
thing is that if there's one washing machine which is being shared by the entire floor.
Yeah.
I can't do a process of I'll first wash my whites, then I'll wash my
Yeah.
colored clothes. I can't
Yeah.
do that because there are people
Yeah.
waiting. I also don't have
Yeah.
time because semi-automatic machine. I have to just be there once it gets done
Yeah.
with the washing. I have to just put it in the
Yeah.
dryer.
Yeah.
So towards the end, I ended up not buying anything. Right.
But how was it? Was it fun? Of course, it sounds like it was fun.
Lot fun. I think living independently. I know right now I have privileges in my house. I have my privileges where my clothes will get washed. I don't have to cook
Yeah.
food for myself.
Yeah.
Those privileges are there. But there's also something which lacks over here was about like privacy and the fact that
The con
I
no,
can't stay late outside.
no, let's put it in a better way. It's just not privacy. It's also the concept of privacy, which lacks.
The concept of privacy, me not be able to stay out till late,
Yeah.
and those stuffs are which also like had become a good chunk of my personality, which I can't do over there. So right now, being in Lucknow,
Yeah.
or if I'm maybe go back to Mumbai. There will be change, but there will be a drastic change in my disadvantages and a drastic change in my advantages. So it'll just
Yeah.
balance out. So
Then after college, what happened to your life? What did you decide?
difficult because again, as I told you earlier, that I am a person who have problems in taking decisions, especially when it comes to a career path, which is basically
Mm-hmm.
what you would need to do for a good amount of your life if you're choosing one kind of career path.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now we have options, and now
Yeah.
the world is open because of internet. You have options to switch your career path. But from a traditional point of view, when you're choosing a particular path, usually you are choosing at that point of time you're thinking that you're going to be sticking to. Like I was not a big fan of taking this decision, of course. So after class, after I'm saying class, after third year, I part of these placement processes where
Yeah.
companies used to come. I think I started out in June of 2018 when the placement
Mm-hmm.
started. And June happened, and then post that, I was also part of this particular course around machine learning. Since I was
Mm-hmm.
coming from a statistics background, machine learning was kind of an extension, like a follow-up, which you can do if you have like interest in computer science and and statistics together, because they kind of come together, and that's how machine learning is evolved. So I was doing that as well. So I think I was while I was doing this course, I was also going for interview processes at different companies. From June till December, I kept on
Yeah.
getting rejected for
Yeah.
6 months. For
Yeah.
6 months, companies came. I applied. I got rejected maybe in the first round. Like my CV, they did not like my CV, or maybe I also for a lot of companies I went till the interview round, till the last round. I remember there was a company for which I was the only person, the last man standing, who was getting interviewed, by the CEO of the
Yeah.
company, and they still did not
Yeah.
take me. So they took no one from various.
कोई नहीं चाहिए तुम तो बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए.
I mean, I got a job in December, but before that, I was thinking, that I have to think something else. This I just
Yeah.
can't be dependent
And
on
back.
interview process. So I
So
started to apply
you
to from
didn't
a
want
master's to
to
different colleges.
you didn't want to pursue post graduation. You wanted to work right out of graduation.
See, I'll tell you. After class 12, the very first thing which I got into was Avis, and I took it. Why? Because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to take any decisions. They're giving it to me, I'll take it. Placement
Pretty
is function in
much
the same way,
autopilot.
right? Yeah, pretty much autopilot. Placements, like you enroll for the placement committee, the companies will
Yeah.
come to your college. You have to just
Yeah.
enroll for it. You pass the entire
Yeah.
process, you'll get.
Right.
So it was that. I mean, for post graduation, I think it was more an outbound, while for
Mm-hmm.
placement process, it was an inbound thing. So I'm
Okay.
thinking that, I'm not that much clear about what my post graduation, and if I do a post graduation, it is also like a specialization. And I'm
Right.
not sure, I don't want to risk right now that I do a specialization on one particular field, and maybe I don't want to continue doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a right approach, of course, because there are so many things which are there. You would, of course, be doing something and realizing that you don't want to do it because just the sheer amount of options which are there in front of you these days. That's why I think so. Since I was not getting into I was not getting through the placement processes for different companies. Then I thought, okay, let's do a post graduation. I think I tried for Ashoka University, but there this program was also something which was generic. They had this Young India Fellowship program where
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
come go over there and you can study different things. You can
Mm-hmm.
study things from arts to computer to mathematics to statistics. They're covering different grounds, and
Right.
this is very generalized, right? There's no
Mm-hmm.
specialization if you see into this as
Mm-hmm.
such, and also quite reputed course as well. I don't think I was that productive in my life till now as I was at point of time because I was balancing my academics. I was
Mm-hmm.
part of this Valahar. I
Mm-hmm.
was going through the placement process, so I was preparing for the case
The
interviews, the
interviews. Yeah.
guesstimate
Yeah.
rounds,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I was also doing this machine learning course, which had
Mm-hmm.
separate assignments, and I was documenting and drafting the essays for Ashoka, which and I think there were like 10 essays. Just the entire anxiety of after 4 or 5 months I will be nowhere. College is ending.
Okay.
What am I
Yeah.
supposed to do?
Yeah.
So I think I was most productive at that point of time. But of course, I got into one of the jobs. I got into Quantify as a business analyst, also like a machine learning and artificial intelligence company. So we started the very next year, 2018 December. I got the offer. I took my finals in 2019 March. I started my office, my work from 2019 June. Let me tell you that this entire the first year specifically, right now I've completed like 2 years in this company. But the first year I think was really interesting. I got to learn so many important skills like Excel,
Mm-hmm.
how to be proactive, which
Mm-hmm.
I was not earlier, right? Because usually in a school or college setup, especially in India, system is very like the teachers will give you things to do. You'll do
Right.
those things. Next thing the teachers will again give you things to do. You will do those things. With Office, that's not the case, of course.
Of course.
You need to stir
Tell me
things
about
up.
it. Yeah.
Correct. You need to stir things up. You need to just be proactive. You need to make sure that if a particular project is coming in your plate, you are covering proactively all the grounds, all the information, all the facts about that particular project. So the first year, I don't think I was like a great employee. I was pretty much shit. But I think I got my one of my seniors who was she was my manager actually. I think she put a lot of efforts in me. I don't think I can put that much of effort into anyone else to train them, but the
Yeah.
efforts that she put into me was tremendous. Because it was just tremendous, Just simple things, right? Like if you're in a working environment, if you're as
Mm-hmm.
busy as a manager, because my manager is handling like three, four different projects.
Mm-hmm.
I'm handling this one project,
Yeah.
I'm part of that project. For example, after that minutes of the meeting, as to what was discussed in this entire meeting and what are the action items. So for her, I used to draft it, and for her, what's going to be the easiest way to, if she's seeing any mistake, just edit it out and just write whatever your edits are, just make the edits
Yeah.
and send it to the client. She
Correct.
used to
Correct.
comment it. She used to mention
Okay.
that this should be in this way. This she used to mention like
Oh.
over here it is coming out like in this manner, but it should not come
Yeah.
out in this manner. It should come out something like this. She did never used to mention the
Oh, I
exact
love those people.
quotation.
Yeah.
That, of course, I mean, it's irritating, right? Like you see that okay, if I just change this word, if I just change this one
Yeah.
sentence, remove it, add it, it's going to be fine. Uh, but of course, the person who made it, my junior who would be making it, I would not
Yeah.
be teaching him. First year of my office was me just getting to basically bridging the gap between my education system and how am I
Yeah.
supposed to be in an office environment and how am I supposed to work. Basically, काम सिखाया.
So you are with the same company. So what are your future plans?
Future plans on again something. Qualify was given to me by my college, right?
Yeah.
And now, if I want to do anything else, I have to be that outbound person. Now,
Like
maybe look for a
you want to
college.
study or like you want to work or like how is it?
I don't have any specific inclination. I'm just trying out different things,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's like you're shooting darts in the dark.
Yeah.
Don't know, just expecting one to just hit the bullseye. So just
Okay.
that's what I'm doing at the moment. Nothing concrete as such. I think I'm hopefully, I should be having something concrete maybe 6 months or a year from now.
One good thing that I really think you have is the advantage of time, of age. That you're young, you started out pretty early for a standard Indian kid. So you do have age and time on your side to experiment with things, to not really subscribe to anything that you do not want to probably for stability because you have time to achieve stability. So that's something really good that you have. So what
Thank
are
you.
your like hobbies? This is ये तो work और school और ये सब हो गया.
Actually, I'm pretty much someone who would want to, read books and say that I love reading, but I'm not. I have so many books which I've just read
You used
halfway
to
through.
read. You used to be an avid reader. I remember.
No, but never.
You always loved books. We have had so many. Or you used to fool me that you love books.
I used to read my syllabus, my academic books, because
No,
though those were not, yeah, those were like academic books I used to read.
for some, you've bought so many books, Sushant.
And I've read them halfway through.
That I don't know. You keep on buying books and telling me that I got this, I got that, and we've had discussions on
Ah,
books.
ah.
And I used to legit think that you read them. How am I supposed to know you don't read them?
No, okay, that way. No, no, I buy books. So I've very recently, I think I told you about Sapiens, right?
Yeah,
By
I'm halfway through it. It's a big book. It'll take me time. I'm halfway through it.
it's a book. I actually I was halfway through it and then I don't know why I stopped, but I stopped.
I
So
went full. I have gotten all the three. So I'm alternating. It's a heavy
so you
book.
have
I
like
can't do it in one go.
Sapiens and like something about
Homo Deus.
21st, 21.
21
Okay,
lessons for
Homo
the
Deus.
21st century man and
Uh,
Homo Deus. Yeah,
what do you think about the author?
I love him. I'm a
Isn't
big
it
fan. Totally subscribed to his views.
such a well-read person to be able to document the history of mankind?
I'm just fascinated. राहुल दुआ का वो जोक है ना कि हम सोच क्यों नहीं पा रहे हैं ऐसा. If you have heard that joke, I
Uh,
totally relate to it. I'm like मेरी सोच ही नहीं पहुंच रही है. A lot of the people I meet and I have conversations with or I watch or see or consume their content, my genuine question to myself is why am I not thinking this way?
I
So
think a
apart
couple of
from
hobbies which I can
yeah,
point out. Right now, like I love watching cricket, especially the Test cricket. Recently garnered by myself is I just love watching these cricket matches, just the Test cricket matches. They are, of course, 5 days long, Test cricket,
yeah,
with like 10 hours each day. So that's why it's pretty much, it's really time consuming, but just, I mean, whenever I get time, like maybe you can see the highlights of the day and stuff like that. But I follow them. I follow every nuance of it because
hmm,
it's not just Test cricket right now. I think with cricket now with in India they are changing. They're having podcasts after every day. They're having those post cricket thing where people talk about it. It's just very fun to listen to them because they catch on things because their job is to watch the
yeah,
entire
yeah,
10 hours
yeah.
of a day. So they just give you those few highlights that okay this happened, this that happened. That is fun to watch, fun to listen. Um, Apart from that, gym is something which I've started.
Mm.
I had a lot of multiple failures in these failed attempts into going to gym. I started it out and I stopped it, but I'm positive this time. I think this time I will be able to continue
Mm-hmm.
it for a longer duration.
Finance is also one of your hobbies, I think.
Investment.
To be fair,
I think
reading up on
it's
finance
just the
and
fact reading up is not something which
no, but
I
you
mean
do,
I
you make an effort on educating yourself on finances and how to do it. It's
especially personal. So finance actually I think very vaguely in a
no
very
like personal
uh,
finance, investments and
literal
shit
way.
like that.
In a very literal way, you can divide finance into two things. One is
Yeah,
corporate finance, and one is
yeah.
like personal finance. In personal finance, yeah, I actually I want to read up a lot because I want to grow my money. Yeah, I want to grow my money to a stage where I don't have to. So that's why
Right.
I think I've invested a good amount of money in the market also.
My last set of questions. What is happiness according to you?
Happiness.
Hmm.
I think happiness for me is me exploring different places, different countries. Countries अभी तक नहीं हो पाया है, but
Yeah,
different
yeah.
states of India right now with my friends. So with my friends become also like an important factor because I don't think I'm a person who is kind of like a solo traveler kind of a person. I don't think I'm that. So A that. The second one is a good night's sleep. I think a good
Hmm.
night's sleep is something which any day, something which gonna give me good amount of peace, good amount of happiness when I may wake up and like, okay, I slept for like 8, 9 hours and I'm waking up and I don't regret
Yeah.
sleeping this much long.
Nice. I love this. I should probably include it in my definition as well. I love this. A good night's sleep. It is happiness. It definitely is. Not don't
No,
really
man.
remember the last time I felt happy because of that, but yeah. How do you define success? Like your definition of success, not the generic definition of society. What's your definition of success?
My definition of success, I think something which I think Tesla, Elon Musk, I think something which he subscribes to. I'm not saying, I think his vision of success I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got it. I You don't mean owning a Tesla. I get it. But yeah.
Yes. His vision of success is it's basically you somehow making life of masses really easy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we all know like how disruptive Tesla has been in the automobile industry. We all know in whichever industry this guy has stepped into, he has made changes which have only made things better for mankind, or better for the entire world. And also the fact that he has not done that for money, right? For example,
Mm-hmm.
Hyperloop. This concept, he just gave it out. He just made this concept and said that okay, this is what I feel. This is a few
Mm-hmm.
technicalities, few details about these concepts. Have fun. I think sometime back, someone asked Elon Musk that why are you planning to go to Mars? Or why do you want to, explore things outside your planet? Whether things in this planet are so bad, you can
Yeah.
basically invest money to improve it. His point was that what is the point of the life if you are not able to take a step further towards these uncertainties, right? Right now we are living in Earth, in a one chotu sa a solar system or whatever we have. We have to take steps sometime, right? Like somewhere sometime or the other, we will be taking steps in exploring it, in trying to understand what is beyond the solar system, what is actually there, and maybe in the pursuit of us trying to do that, we will be able to find things to make better in our own planet. So that vision, right? That if you see that he is that kind of a person who is doing things, who is basically making concepts and inventions and discoveries just so that he can make things easier for the humankind. Second thing is also like he's right now trying to explore the universe, taking the first step into it, and that's also a pretty daunting task. So I think if any person can be that much selfless, if you can say he's not. I mean, he's rich, of course, so you can't say selfless. But then, uh, if any person is kind of aligned to his thought process somewhat, I think that's success from a professional point of view. Now, I would not say maybe his in his personal life he may not be success.
Not
I'm just
Tesla,
saying
like
that
the
if
person.
your ideology is aligned around some of these traits which I mentioned about Elon Musk, then I feel that I think you are somewhere along the way of being successful professional. Can't say anything about personal.
Are you on the way to success?
Am I on the way of success? No, I don't think so.
So then
I just
why would you not stick to your own definition of success? How does that make sense?
no. One second. So, no, your question was that what, according to me, is success, right?
What's
Or
your
did I read your
definition of
question wrong?
success?
What my definition of success? Yeah, so my
Yeah.
definition of success right now, if I'm not saying that I'm successful right now, but my definition is that if you are somewhat around that
Yeah,
particular
right.
thought process of Elon Musk,
Then you're successful
yeah,
or on the path
yeah,
of success.
hmm,
And then
yeah,
you said that you're not on that path. So I'm asking if
huh.
that's your definition of success, why aren't you working towards success?
Why am I not working towards it? Uh,
Yeah.
just just because I'm not. That's because I'm lazy right now. Maybe. That's why I'm
You
not
don't want
working
to be
towards it.
successful?
I want to be successful. I look up to this particular idea. It's just that I right now I'm just being lazy about things.
So do you think
Correct.
some major actions are required for you to be on that path?
Correct. Yeah. They are
Vis-a-vis?
required. They are required from a mental point of view that I have to change things mentally in the way that I am right now going in terms of understanding things, taking things, or my routine. What are my priorities in life? That needs to be changed somewhat like a drastic manner. So that's where I've recognized that these needs to be changed, and maybe I've also recognized what exactly should be that change. But it right now when I'm seeing those changes, when I'm seeing that
Mm-hmm.
when I go through, if I want to make those changes, I can't be lazy when I'm making those changes. Those changes are those drastic. So that's why I mentioned
So like
laziness is there.
then for from your definition and according to you, you're far, far away from success then.
Correct.
That's strange and that's interesting. I've this is the first time literally I've heard someone who said that they are not successful, they are not on the path to success, and they're far, far away from it. And very strange. Nice.
Well,
But
if by having 20 guests, you will find the one strange and odd one
no,
out.
no, I am glad I did. I strive for these answers. The reason behind doing this podcast was this very thing. They're finding out unique and similar
Maybe
things.
later on I may have some different ideology of
For
success,
sure, for
maybe
sure.
for sure.
It's not
Of
an
course, and
absolute thing. It
it's not
is
an
what you
absolute
feel
thing,
at
but
that
right now,
moment. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right now, what I feel at this
Completely,
moment, I
completely.
feel.
And what is death?
Death. I mean, it's a very cliched answer, but I think the only thing true right now, everything you can measure, it's all about probability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probability of tomorrow rising a sun is a probability, is because maybe there a meteor can hit it or something can happen, it's going to collapse or something like that. But what is, I think, certain is death.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stop that. It will definitely happen. And
Sure.
I think if I realize it, if I, every time when I'm making decisions or not making decisions, but like every time when I'm looking to things from a perspective, thinking that towards the end, death is something which is imminent, something which is going to be there. So I think I may have some slightly a different point of view, something maybe I will not overreact to things. I will be putting lesser efforts into things which are maybe meaningless to me, stuff like
So
that. So
you
that's
have that
that's
thought
that's
in mind or you don't?
I tend to forget it.
Yeah.
It just keeps coming back in different times, but I tend to forget it.
Right, right. So the last question that would end the podcast is if I have missed anything that you would like to have in your life's documentary till now, और मैंने कोई question miss कर दिया हो तुम्हें वो चीज़ रखनी हो, so this is the point you can include it.
I think we mostly covered from my childhood to what I'm pretty much doing right now. Touched upon a few of these interesting questions of yours, which I think give me hint about my thought process 10, 15 years from now. So yeah, I think we
Probably.
pretty much covered all all the grounds as of now. But yeah, not that I can think of. I think this is the point where if you're basically taking an interview, the interviewer asks, "Do you have any questions for me?" Well, but I don't think I have any
I
questions or
wouldn't give
anything
you
else.
that privilege. I wouldn't give you that privilege of asking questions to me
I
on the
don't know.
podcast.
I know.
Apart from the podcast, you don't need permissions. So that's okay. So,
True, true.
so thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Thank you so much for doing this. I had a blast. I genuinely enjoyed the conversation. I
Same
don't know
here.
what part of it, how much of it would come out for the viewers to watch it. I had a lovely time having this conversation, as always, lovely talking to you. And I'm happy we could document a form of it, of the various late night discussions that we have, and it happens to be a late night recording. So thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for inviting and a good capsule this thing gonna be, as I mentioned, 10, 15 years from now. I'm gonna
For
be maybe
sure.
watching it with my kids, maybe.
Yeah, that is another conversation, but it's not the right stage of life to have the conversation, I think.
Correct.
But yeah, for the
Mhm.
season, like for whatever season X and episode 2 of Sushant's life, we'll know what that conversation would look like.
Perfect.
For the two people who are watching till now, thank you for watching. Please keep on supporting. Do let me know if you would like to come or anyone you would like to have or listen to on the show. Please let me know. You can email me at documentingpeople101 at the gmail.com. You can reach out to me on Instagram, and all the socials would be in the description below. If you have any questions for Sushant, you can leave them in the comments. I don't know if he'll respond. I'll leave his socials. You can contact him. जवाब देगा नहीं देगा मेरी responsibility नहीं है, मैं दे दूंगी, आपके ऊपर है. And till then, bye bye. Take care.